M.D.Roberts because I believe the teachers are really involved. They care about what we do in school, how we do it, and they basically keep us safe, and they're like our second parents.
I like M.D.Roberts because they strive for education, the performing arts, and athletics.
I like social studies because it teaches the history of change and progress, which is something you can really use in life.
I like social studies because I'm going to be a journalist, and I need to know about, in order to be a journalist, you're going to be reporting on the current events, and in social studies, you need the history to know what's going on now.
There's a really great school, it gets straight A's. You know the place in Jonesboro, GA. It's the M.D.Roberts Middle School. They empower and encourage all their students to be globally competitive, critical thinkers, and work real hard till it hurts your fingers. It's the home of the Rams in Clayton County, where our country gets an educational bounty. M.D.Roberts is a school of distinction.
The mission of M.D.Roberts Middle School is to empower and encourage globally competitive critical thinkers, one student at a time.
No taxation without representation.
Taxation without representation was outrageous because the colonists did not have any say-so in the government, but they were still being taxed furiously.
The Proclamation of 1763.
The Proclamation of 1763 was a law passed by British government that stated British colonists could not settle westward of the.
So one of the causes, probably the main cause of the Revolutionary War was the whole taxation without representation thing, because Britain, they taxed the colonies on basically everything, and the thing was that the colonies didn't have any representation whatsoever in the British government anywhere, so it was like they were taxing them, and the colonies couldn't do anything about it.
The Sugar Act.
The Sugar Act was a law passed by Parliament on April 5, 1764. It placed a tax on Dutch and French molasses.
In 1767, Charles Townshend placed taxes on things like tea, paper, lead, and glass. Colonists soon protested these ideas.
The Boston Tea Party.
The Boston Tea Party was a protest against the Tea Act. On December 16, 1773, 50 men dressed up as Mohawk Indians boarded these 3 tea ships and dumped tea into the Boston Harbor.
The Tea Party back then and the Tea Party right now had problems with their government because they didn't like how the economy was being run. Well, that's pretty much what they have in common. What's really different is that the Tea Party right now is a bit more aggressive or less pacifistic.
The Boston Massacre.
Okay. So one cause of the Revolutionary War was the Boston Massacre, which was when there's a crowd in Boston, and they were insulting, British troops. And apparently British troops heard the order for them to fire, and they fired in the crowd and killed members of the crowd.
The Stamp Act. On March 22, 1765, Parliament issued the Stamp Act, which set a tax on all legal documents, permits, and other paper products. After the tax has been paid, the colonists were given a stamp which they're able to put onto the paper product, signifying that the tax has been paid.
The Intolerable Acts were acts that were a punishment to the colonists as a result of the Boston Tea Party.
The Intolerable Acts were 4 acts passed by the British. The first act was to punish the people who participated in the Boston Tea Party. The second was to cancel the Massachusetts Royal Charter. The third was to allow British soldiers to be tried in England. And the fourth was a quartering act to force colonists to house and feed British soldiers.
The Declaration of Independence.
On July 4th, 1776, delegates from each colony met to sign the Declaration of Independence, and this formally announced the break from Great Britain.